I have to tell you, was encouraging me to oppose the jury trial curtailment because he thought it was a ludicrous idea like I did. And I didn't expect to be suspended for doing what I think is the right thing. But what came after that was particularly bad, I have to say. It's a matter of public record. The smearing was particularly savage, uncalled for, unfair, and not very Labour.
Now, the Home Secretary is reviewing the security on offer to members of Parliament after the death of Anne Widdecombe. Rising political violence has seen the murders of two serving members of Parliament, Joe Cox and David Amess, in the last decade. And almost a quarter of MPs are now reducing or completely scrapping face-to-face meetings with their constituents. These things, of course, are known as surgeries. Some, though, are sticking to the old ways of doing things. In a moment, we'll talk to Karl Turner, who is currently an independent MP for Kingston upon Hull. He was a Labour MP, of course. And first, we're going to go to a Tory, Richard Fuller, the Conservative Shadow Treasury Secretary and MP for North Bedfordshire. Now, I understand, Richard, that you've just done a constituency surgery. Is that correct?
Yes, welcome to sunny Carlton in North Bedfordshire. We've had a lovely session for the last couple of hours. Any constituent, not just from Carlton, but anywhere in North Bedfordshire, know that I'm here. They can come and talk about whatever issue they want to raise with their MP. Right.
And how is it advertised, Richard?
So we advertise it on Facebook. We let the parish council know about it. In Carlton, they also put up posters around the village to know that the MP would be here, just so that anyone on the moment, on the day, could know that they could come along and meet their representative.
OK, and they don't have to book? There's no pre-booking?
No, I run sort of different types of meeting constituents. So this is what we call a drop-in surgery, no appointment necessary. We do have appointment surgeries, which we hold in different parts. North Bedfordshire is quite rural, so we have about 3 or 4 centres around the constituency where we can book, and you can come and meet me by appointments. We also do online surgeries if people can't get out or would prefer to meet online. And then tonight I do the 4th of them, which is what we call a town hall meeting. It's in the village of Roxton tonight, but about once a month, once every 6 weeks, we invite people from that area, and we also publicise it for others to come, and we have a broader conversation about national issues and what's going on locally. Lots of change in North Bedfordshire, and a broad conversation. People can ask whatever question they want. And it's not just a dialogue. It's, everyone can participate in those. And that's, to me, a much better way of doing democracy than perhaps the online alternatives.
Right. I mean, I hope this is giving listeners, it's certainly giving me, a real insight into the work that MPs of all stripes have to do in their constituencies. Without breaking any confidences, what were the issues that were brought to you today?
Well, as you might expect, it was quite a mix. We had a lady, she just lives locally. She just came to talk about the progress of her grandson in terms of the treatment that he was getting. We've had some questions about some illegal encampments outside a different village in Bedfordshire. We had some issues about speeding and the way in which some of the road traffic is going to be. We had some planning issues. That's not what MPs do, but people sometimes come to alert their MPs about it. And one special moment, there was a gentleman who came some months ago. He was at the early stage of writing a book about his own struggles, and it was about a self-help manual for other people. And I challenged him to come and see me once he got his book published, and his book has just been published, and I was so proud of him. It was nice of him to come and say hello.
That's amazing.
Can we give it a plug?
Yeah, what's it called?
I have to check my phone.
Okay.
But I will send it in to you. I will send it in to you because he would love that. Because one of the issues he said was he wants to help other people that have had the same struggles that he has had.
All right.
So I will let you know.
Well, I mean, that again just tells us about the range of things that come your way. As a result of the encounters you've had today, what sort of work do you now have to go on to do?
So fortunately, MPs have a team that help them, but there were some issues. We have some follow-up we need to take with the local council, where we want to make sure that people's concerns about some speeding issues are taken into consideration. There was an issue, which I won't go into, that someone raised about national security matters, so I will be contacting Dame Angela Eagle today about that matter because it's quite time sensitive.
Now she is what is she? She's a security minister.
She's the Minister of State for National Security in the Home Office. Yes.
Got it. Right. Okay. Yes. Sorry. Carry on.
So it goes to show sort of the range of things.
Yeah.
I've got some questions questions that I'm sort of stashed away in my head for my next meeting with with Bedford Hospital. Not negative issues, but just some feedback I want to give them. And then I've set a date for later in the summer to go visit this area where there's been this illegal encampment, and just to see if the compliance issues which are likely to come in place have actually been followed or not. And if not, then I'll be asking the local council there to take action.
Have you ever had a problem at one of these surgeries, any sort of security issue?
Well, I used to say no, and I think it's important. The way that I do it, I think every MP has to make their own decision. And, I have an advantage being a man versus a woman, because women in politics are subject to far more abuse and far more vile abuse than male MPs, in my experience. But MPs also have to be conscious of their staff. I have someone here who checks people in to make sure that they've got the form, they can let me know what issues they have, and someone who's a caseworker helping me with any follow-ups. So I have to be conscious about their safety too. But to answer your question, we had one incident about 4 months ago, and I got to the point where I said, look, unless you leave, I'm going to have to call the police. Unfortunately, that person left, and so there was no particular follow-up.
But as a matter of routine, there's no local bobby standing outside when you have one of these surgeries?
No, I mean, the Speaker, by the way, Speaker of the House of Commons, Lindsay Hoyle, has done a fantastic job being open about the risks that MPs face and making sure that all MPs have options available to them, and that's up to and including if they want to have a security person available there when they meet the constituents. My personal view, and it's just my view, for me, is I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't want uniformed police at surgeries. I wouldn't want a security guard, because I don't want a barrier to be between me and the people I'm here to represent. I think politics is too aloof as it is.
That's really interesting, and thank you very much for your time, Richard. Richard Fuller,
thank you.
Tory Shadow Treasury Secretary, MP for North Bedfordshire. Karl Turner is currently an independent MP for Kingston upon Hull East. Karl Turner, are you the same as Richard Fuller? You're just grimly determined, in a way, to press on with the old way of doing these surgeries?
Well, yeah, I think it's. I think we'd be in a desperate state if we had to resort to security outside of the constituency office when we're holding surgeries. I think I accept that some MPs are particularly abused, women specifically, I think. But my experience is that constituents tend to behave themselves. If I needed security, I think it'd be to protect the public from me, to be perfectly honest, rather than to protect me from the public. That was something my predecessor John Prescott used to say, and I sort of think of that fondly. But look, we are available and we need to be available. There's been incidents in the past. When my wife was heavily pregnant, expecting our daughter, a man burst into our home, but he came off second best, I have to tell you, and that's the only experience I've had. It was unpleasant, but do I want security? Absolutely, categorically not. I expect to be able to see constituents freely. I've seen 3 today, for example, who were not booked appointments, they just turned up, and I think that's important.
Do you have pre-booked appointments normally?
Well, we do. Every other Friday we have a booked appointment surgery, and then on Fridays every week I see constituents if they turn up. The same goes for a Thursday morning. If I'm in the constituency on a Thursday, if people have rang the previous day and want to see their MP, I tend to make myself available, providing I've got the time to do it. And it seems to work very well indeed.
Some people have said that the sort of folk who turn up at constituency surgeries are the mad, the bad and the sad. Is that just too crude?
Well, I don't like to think of my constituents in that way. I mean, people come with genuine problems, and by the time they get to their MP, it tends to be a fairly serious problem. Today I've seen 3 people, one of which was a whistleblowing teacher, was complaining about an academy trust, which I've immediately raised with the Secretary of State for Education by way of text message. That'll be followed up by a formal letter next week. The other was an SEND issue with a school, and the other issue was a fairly serious housing problem where a family living in accommodation which is just not fit for purpose, and the local authority, frankly, are letting her down. So those are important issues, I think. When they get to the Member of Parliament, it's stuff that their MP or the alternative would be a lawyer might deal with, and not everybody can afford to pay a lawyer.
No. When Andy Burnham takes over, one would assume that, well, will he still have to do some kind of constituency surgery in Makerfield?
Well, I think he will. I think we have a great system, don't we? I mean, I remember the thick of it. I can't remember what the film version of the thick of it was, but there was a senior minister having to hold a surgery, and there was a boundary dispute. Not many hours prior to that, he was abroad dealing with ministerial matters. I know it was sitcom, but these things do happen. And I think it's important that we have that element of, contact face-to-face with members of the public. It tends to keep you grounded. It doesn't take much to lose sight of what's happening on the ground when you're in the Westminster bubble 4 days a week.
Yeah, I'm told, by the way, that show is In the Loop, so I hope that helps. You are an independent MP at the moment. Is it likely that Mr Burnham will let you back into the Labour fold?
I'd be gobsmacked if he didn't. We've been having conversations for several months, and I can tell you that Andy Burnham is intent on changing the way the system, the whipping operation in the Labour Party works, not least because of the experience that I've had. He, I have to tell you, was encouraging me to oppose the jury trial curtailment because he thought it was a ludicrous idea like I did. And I didn't expect to be suspended for doing what I think is the right thing. But what came after that was particularly bad, I have to say. It's a matter of public record. The smearing was particularly savage, uncalled for, unfair, and not very Labour.
Right, but so all those Labour MPs applauding Keir Starmer yesterday, what did you think?
Well, I didn't go in because I was too embarrassed. I mean, I wanted rid of Keir Starmer in the end. I was glad he went. I don't feel sorry for him. He failed at being Prime Minister. It was time he moved on. He just wasn't up to the job. That was the truth. He was a committed public servant. He tried his best, but he couldn't communicate, he couldn't do the job, and he couldn't manage the Parliamentary Labour Party. Hence the fact that people like me were suspended for saying we're not putting up with this. So he had to go. There was no way I would be in the chamber yesterday clapping him out. I was glad he was going. And I think, those MPs who were clambering to nominate Keir Starmer, having formally said they wanted rid of him, Andy Burnham rather, nominating Andy Burnham, having formally said in a letter that they wanted Keir Starmer to stay on, are a complete embarrassment. And, it's a serious point for me because I think people are rightly cheesed off with politics and politicians when they see the antics that we get up to. We're supporting this person one day because it suits us and then not the next. It's just embarrassing. And that's why I want to mention just briefly Anne Widdecombe. I met the woman a few times, a genuinely principled, politician who absolutely meant what she said. I didn't agree with the woman. I don't want to caveat this, but her politics wasn't mine. But she was sort of the right-wing version of Dennis Skinner, or indeed my predecessor, John Prescott. You knew what he was getting on Prescott. He didn't take prisoners.
Thank you. That's Karl Turner, independent MP for Kingston upon Hull East. And it's fair to say he came off the fence there on the subject of Keir Starmer.
I believe that he did, yep. A quick bit of political levity courtesy of Frank. Monday is change of Prime Minister Day. However, there is a void of a few minutes between Starmer leaving the palace and Burnham arriving. Who could possibly object to Larry the Cat being appointed as Prime Minister for these few minutes?
There he is.
I also suspect Larry is looking forward to seeing what Burnham will deliver, particularly on greater municipal powers.
Oh, very good indeed, yes.